Well, today on Hot Wheels, we thought we would give you a little preview of what's to come this weekend at the British Car and Photo Show right here at Shell Point. And today I have with me Mr. Boynton and his fabulous Rolls-Royce automobile. And Lynn, thanks so much for coming on Hot Wheels and showing us this beauty.
Thanks, Rich.
Since 1906, Rolls-Royce has been around, and a few years after that came along this beauty, and I understand it's called the Ghost.
It was called a Silver Ghost because in 1906, when the design was first released and Henry Royce made it, it was so massive and so quiet that they called it a Ghost, and the first car happened to be painted aluminum color with silver plated bright work. Wow. And so it's called the Silver Ghost. It was the best car they could make. This particular car was bought by a guy in Philadelphia who had a couple of hat factories, and he actually had two Rolls-Royce Silver Ghosts.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I understand you've taken these on tour and some car shows, so this weekend show won't be the first. There's been actually a lot more elaborate things you've been a part of.
That's true. We've been very lucky to have this car. We've had it 30 years, and we have done 30,000 miles of touring with it. We've been to the East Coast, the West Coast, the South, and we've been up Nova Scotia and King Edward Island, and just we've done a lot of touring with it.
Hey, Lynn, could they hear you coming?
No, it's a fairly quiet car. It's a Ghost, you know.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
Yeah, but we have every year we have a Holy Ghost, WHOLLY,
okay.
Holy Ghost tour, and it's somewhere. This next year is going to be in Western Michigan. So,
oh, that'll be great.
Yeah.
Well, take us a little walking tour here, if you would, Lynn, and show us some of the features and interesting things about the car.
Well, it actually has high-low beams on the headlights. It's a 6-volt system, so the lights aren't terribly bright. It only has two-wheel brakes. You'll notice there are no brakes in the front here at all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right. And they're
you don't want to go too fast.
No, you don't. You always drive very cautiously. Everybody has the right of way. I wait for everything. I want the coast perfectly clear. Let me show you the engine, Rich. So this is the engine.
Wow, look at that.
You can see two spark plugs in each cylinder, one from each ignition system. This is called an updraft carburetor because if there's a fire in the carburetor, it'll get sucked into the engine.
Oh.
Regular steering. This is a generator, 6-volt generator.
Mm-hmm.
These pipes, these black pipes here, collect any excess gas that's in the intake manifold and then sucks it back into the engine. Regular klaxon horn.
Now, putting all this beautiful brass work on here, that was standard, right? They did them all that way?
Yeah, that was standard. You'll notice this belt on the fan is segmental because the crankshaft pulley on the front is a blind pulley, so you have to run the belt around it and then hook the belt back up. This is a starting carburetor, and what it does is when you turn that on, it runs raw gas into the intake manifold, and that's why they have these drainage tubes on there.
Okay. We talked about you've collected quite a few cars, and this is one that you've hung on to. What is obviously this car is special to you.
This is special.
What makes this car special?
Well, you know how something just it clicks with you. Whenever I work on it, it's much better than before I started working on it. It responds. It's a nice riding car. It has roll-up windows, so if it gets nasty, Jackie and I can roll it up, and the back window goes down. I can open up the rumble seat and take a couple people that way. It's just a very comfortable car, and I have thoroughly enjoyed the pleasure.
That's awesome. Well, show us the inside cab briefly here.
Now you'll notice these are suicide doors.
Oh.
You can imagine if this door came open that way, how tough it would be to get in there. So they made it a suicide door. Now to start this car, you have to pump up the air in the fuel tank because it's air pressure that pushes the gas up into the carburetor. And then you set your governor and the ignition, and then this is your control for the strength of the, either we call it rich and lean.
The fuel mixture.
Mixture, but Royce calls it weak and strong. So you do that, and then you put it in neutral, let the clutch out, because the starter motor works through the transmission. Turn on the ignition, and she fires up.
Listen at that.
Yeah. So this is first, second, and third.
Well, there was a lot to learning this, I'm sure, for a novice back in the day who maybe this was their first car or first on this level anyway. It wasn't something you just hopped in and started the engine and took off.
Well, it's a good anti-theft device because nobody can start it and steal it.
It's a great
Old
It's a great way
cars,
to have a fun social time with other people. And
It is. And when somebody comes up to talk to you about the car, it kind of takes their mind off of other things in their life. You know, it just lets them focus on something fun for them, and we do that too. Yeah. This is the rumble seat. And that's the seat cushion that you sit against. This is the origin of the word trunk. Because you had this trunk. The British call it the boot, but we call it the trunk. And now every American car has a trunk.
we're going to look forward to seeing this at the British Car Show this Saturday.
Yeah.
People need to come on out. It starts at 11 a.m. over at the Circle on the Island. And I understand there's going to be food trucks with some food, of course, and a lot of fun and fellowship as people can walk around and look at all these fabulous cars.
Don Adams is going to show his pictures.
He's got some pictures.
Yeah,
Some
I've seen
artwork.
those. They're really nice.
They're gorgeous, yes. So people can go down to the Creativity Tunnel after they look at the cars and see his photography. So come on out this Saturday and join us for the British Car and Photo Show and meet Lynn and see his fabulous Rolls Royce.